Good morning, class 10. Today we shall start a new chapter, The 100 Dresses, part 1. If you have read the chapter, you must have realized that it is a beautiful story. A story about a girl who is poor, we can say. She is not very affluent, she is not very rich, she does not belong to a very affluent family, but she is not disheartened. The fact that she has limited things, her means are limited, it does not stop her from doing what she wants to do. She goes to school, she studies, she faces the mock of her classmates, she faces all the questions which the girls ask her and gives bold answers. And the best part is that the end of the story is wonderful. So now let us begin with the chapter and see what is the story all about. The 100 Dresses, part 1. Before you read, how do we judge the people around us? By their money, wealth and possessions? Or is there something of more enduring value? Enduring means something which lasts long. Is there something of more enduring value to look for in a person? You must have also seen, children, that the first thing which we get attracted to is the clothes we wear. When you meet a person, you will talk to that person later on. But first, you will start judging that person by the way he has dressed himself up. From that only, from his dresses itself, you will come to know whether he belongs to a rich family, whether he belongs to a medium class family, middle class family, or he is a poor person. Clothes speak a lot. And it is our human nature that we form opinions accordingly. We start judging people by their outward appearance. We come to know of their qualities later on, but first we form opinions by their appearance itself. So the writer is saying that do we judge people around us by their money or by their wealth or other possessions? Or is there something of more enduring value to look for in a person? That means, or is there anything else, something that lasts for long, something that does not end and that attracts our attention? This story is a sensitive account of how a poor young girl is judged by her classmates. Wanda Petronsky is a young Polish girl who goes to school with other American children in an American town. Now you must underline this because it is telling you a special feature about Wanda Petronsky. She is a poor girl, underline this, and she is a young Polish girl, that means she belongs to Poland, who goes to school with other American children in an American town. These other children see Wanda as different in many ways. Can you guess how they treat her? Read the information in the box below. Okay, now this information I am giving you to read. This is extra reading which I am going to give it to you as homework. Now let us begin with the main chapter. Today, Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in her seat. But nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually, Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat, in the last row in room 13. Underline this line because it is an important part of the chapter. Usually, Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room 13. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat the corner of the room where there was most scuffling of feet. Scuffling of feet means noisy dragging movements of the feet on the ground. Most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. Now children, you must have also seen that generally those children who are not very good in studies, slightly weak in studies we can say, and who are rowdy by nature, that means not very disciplined, generally they prefer to be backbenchers in the class because they want to skip from the attention of the teacher. They believe that if they will sit on the last seat, then the teacher will not notice them. The teacher will ask very few questions to them, and they can do a little misbehavior there. They can spread the dirt on the floor, they can make noises there, they can enjoy their life, which will not be possible if they sit in the front seat or in the front row. So Vanda also used to sit on the last seat in the last row in room 13, where usually the rough boys, that means those boys who were notorious kind, who were not very well behaved, they were notorious kind, and they always wanted to grab an opportunity where they could laugh at others, make fun of others, and make some sounds or make the sound of scuffling of feet, etc., etc., and they could spread the mud and dirt on the floor. Vanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. So the writer says that although that place was mainly occupied by rough and noisy boys, little misbehaved boys, but it does not indicate that Vanda was also misbehaved or she was noisy. No, she was not at all noisy. She was very quiet in the class. On the contrary, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all. And nobody had ever heard her laugh out loud. That means she was very well behaved, she was disciplined, and she never even laughed loudly. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked sort of smile, but that was all. Nobody knew exactly why Vanda sat in that seat, unless it was because she came all the way from Boggins Heights and her feet were usually caked with dry mud. That means she came from that place, she came from a far off distance, and while coming to school, her feet were filled with mud. The feet were covered with dry mud. And in order to escape the attention of the teacher, in order to avoid showing her dirty feet to others in the class or to the teacher in the class, because if she will sit in front, then sometime or the other the teacher will notice her muddy feet. So in order to avoid that situation, she used to sit on the last bench, but actually nobody knows the reason. But no one really thought much about Vanda Petronsky once she sat in the corner of the room. So she was a quiet girl. Once she sat in her place, nobody even bothered to think about what was Vanda doing, was her feet muddy or not, or anything else. The time when they thought about Vanda was outside of school hours. At noontime, when they were coming back to school, or in the morning early before school began, when groups of 2 or 3 or even more would be talking and laughing on their way to the school yard. So when she was in the class, hardly anybody thought about her. But when she was outside the school, when the school hours were over, then then the girls used to talk to her, and she was being talked about when the school hours did not begin or when the school hours were over. Then sometimes they waited for Vanda. to have fun with her. To have fun with her means just talk something which is silly, just to have fun. Basically, the reason was that children wanted to make fun of her. That is why they used to talk to her after the school hours or before the school hours. They did not have any serious intention in their mind, but as a matter of joke, just to make a little fun of her, just to laugh at her, because she belonged to a poor background, the children used to talk to her. The next day, Tuesday, Vanda was not in school either, and nobody noticed her absence again. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie, who sat down front with other children who got good marks and who didn't track in a whole lot of mud, did notice that Vanda wasn't there. Peggy was the most popular girl in the school. Underline this line. This can be asked in 1-mark questions. Peggy was the most popular girl in the school. She was pretty. She had many pretty clothes and her hair was curly. Underline this description about Peggy. Maddie was her closest friend. Maddie was the closest friend of Peggy. Underline all this. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Vanda's absence was because Vanda had made them late to school. So why they were late to school? These two girls, Peggy and Maddie, they were late to school because they had been waiting for Vanda outside the school gate, but she did not come, and these two girls were late to school. They had waited and waited for Vanda to have some fun with her, and she just hadn't come. They often waited for Vanda Petronsky to have fun with her. So the actual reason was not they really wanted to wait, they sincerely wanted to wait for her. No, they just wanted to talk to her and have some fun. So they were waiting for her, but she was absent from school on Wednesday also. Vanda Petronsky, most of the children in room 13 didn't have names like that. They had names easy to say, like Thomas, Smith or Allen. There was one boy named Bounce, Willie Bounce, and the people thought that was funny, but not funny in the same way that Petronsky was. Vanda didn't have any friends. Underline again an important description about her. Vanda didn't have any friends. She came to school alone and went home alone. Underline all this. She always wore a faded blue dress that didn't hang right. That didn't hang right means it did not fit her physique properly. It did not fit her properly. So this shows that this line also shows that she was a poor girl. She did not have many dresses and she used to wear a faded blue dress to school, and the dress did not fit her properly. It was clean, but it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. Underline all this, children. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. Sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard as she stood watching the girls play hopscotch on the worn, hard ground. Vanda, Peggy would say in the most courteous manner, as though she were talking to Miss Mason. Vanda, she would say, giving one of her friends a nudge. Nudge means a gentle push. Tell us, how many dresses did you have? How many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet? Now look how the girls are trying to talk to her just in order to make fun of her. The intention of the girls who want to talk to Vanda is not that we want to make friends with her, We want to be her friends. She has no friend in the class or in the school, so we want to be one of her friends. No, this was not the intention. Only the girls gathered around her and wanted to talk to her just to make fun, just to enjoy themselves a little bit and have fun. So they used to ask, or we can say Peggy, we are talking about Peggy in this paragraph. Peggy asked, how many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet? 100, Vanda would say. 100, exclaimed all the little girls incredulously. Incredulously means they didn't believe. Suppose you have a classmate and you know that that particular student is not a very rich person and does not belong to a very affluent family, and if he or she says that she has or he has 100 dresses, then it will be hard to believe, and children around will start making fun. That was the same treatment they were giving to Vanda. Vanda said she had 100 dresses, and the little girls said incredulously, that means they did not believe what she said. And the little ones would stop playing hopscotch and listen. Now when Vanda said that she had 100 dresses, the girls who were playing, they would stop playing and they were more interested in listening to what Vanda said. Yea, 100, all lined up, said Vanda. Then her thin lips drew together in silence. What are they like? All silk, I bet, said Peggy. Now see, Peggy is not satisfied when she gets the answer from Vanda that Vanda had 100 dresses. She is eager to talk to her more about the dresses. Just the curiosity is to make more fun of her, to laugh at her. The intention is not to enquire because she wanted to enquire. No, the intention was just to have some fun time. What are they like? All silk, I bet, said Peggy. Yea, all silk, all colors. This is the reply Vanda gives. Velvet too? Yea, velvet too. Peggy is asking, you must be having silk dresses and velvet dresses also. So she says, yes, I have velvet too. 100 dresses, Vanda would repeat stolidly. That means with not showing any feeling, without feeling. Why there was no feeling? Because actually she did not have 100 dresses. Feelings come when you experience that. When you experience something in reality in your life, then you will show your feelings. So Vanda did not show any feelings here because actually she did not have 100 dresses with her at home. All lined up in my closet. Then they would let her go, and then before she had gone very far, they couldn't help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. As I am just telling you, as I have been repeating, that their intention was not to investigate or to find out. They were not actually very eager to know that Vanda had 100 dresses or more or less. Their intention was just to ask some silly questions to her, and they would enjoy those answers which will be given by Vanda, and they will get an opportunity to laugh at her, to make fun of her. 100 dresses. Obviously, the only dress Vanda had was the blue one she wore every day. So why did she say she had 100? What a story. Now the girls are talking to one another. How many shoes did you say you had? Now another question. 60 pairs, all lined up in my closet. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All alike. Now, see how beautifully the writer has written. And the girls are saying with exaggerated politeness. Exaggerated means too much, which looks like acting, which looks unreal. With extreme politeness, exaggerated politeness, they are asking her that all shoes are alike, all alike. Oh no, every pair is different, all colors, all lined up. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. So, Peggy and Maddie both used to continuously, I should not say both. Peggy was more curious in asking questions and make fun of this poor girl Vanda, and all the girls used to leave, and these two girls, these two friends, were the last to leave. Finally, Vanda would move up the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, hitching her left shoulder. Hitching means moving. Hitching her left shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to school alone. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies. What is bully? Those who use their strength or power to frighten weaker people. That means those people who belong to a poor family, or those people who are physically weak. Sometimes such kind of children are being troubled by their seniors in the school or in the college. So troubling the weaker people, they can be financially weak, they can be physically weak, any kind. So giving trouble to such kind of people or such kind of children is called bullying. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies, and she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, "Don't you think that is a cruel way to treat Vanda?" she would have been very surprised. Cruel? Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody could tell that that was a lie. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person. Else, why did she have a name like that? Anyway, they never made her cry. So that means she here stands for Peggy. She was never embarrassed that she was bullying Vanda, because according to her, she was not bullying Vanda. Rather, she was blaming Vanda for telling a lie that she had 100 dresses. She said that what was the need to tell a lie? She could have told the reality. Why did she say that she had 100 dresses? So, she did not find fault in herself. Rather, she found fault in Vanda, and she blamed her that she told a lie. She belonged to a poor background. She belonged to a poor family. Then why did she have to say that she had 100 dresses? As for Maddie, this business of asking Vanda every day how many dresses and how many hats and how many this and that she had was bothering her. So we can see that Maddie is a different kind of girl. Maddie is not a girl like Peggy, who used to ask every day about dresses, how many dresses do you have, how many shoes do you have, this and that. Maddie did not like bothering Vanda every day by asking such questions repeatedly. Maddie was poor herself. Now children, this is again an important line, an important feature about Maddie. Maybe because she was poor herself, that is why she knew the feelings of Vanda, and she did not want to ask such questions. She did not want Peggy to ask such questions again and again, but she did not have the courage to stop Peggy from doing so. Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Now see the meaning of hand-me-down clothes. Old clothes handed down by someone else. Like in olden days, I should not say olden days, 25 or 30 years back I can say that it was a very common feature in joint families that if a family had, suppose, 3 sisters, then the dresses of the eldest sister was passed on to the middle sister, then the second sister's dresses were passed on to the younger one. This way, the dresses were passed on from one member of the family to the other, and very happily, very eagerly, the children used to wear dresses without any inferiority complex, without any ego or any other thought. But now, if you give your dresses to your younger brother, he or sister, he or she will immediately say that I am not going to wear old clothes. I want new dress. So this girl, Maddie, was also a poor girl, and she usually wore dresses which were already worn by somebody else. She used to wear dresses which were old, which were handed over to her by somebody who had already worn those dresses. She usually wore somebody's hand-me-down clothes. Thank goodness she didn't live up on Boggins Heights or have a funny name. Sometimes, when Peggy was asking Wanda those questions in that mocking, polite voice, Maddie felt embarrassed and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand, rolling them round and saying nothing herself. This line shows that Maddie never liked Peggy asking such questions to Wanda repeatedly. Why? The main reason is because Maddie herself was poor and she knew very well the feelings of Wanda. She could very well realize how Wanda must have felt when Peggy repeatedly asked those questions to her every day. How many dresses do you have? How many shoes do you have? How many hats do you have? Etc. etc. And she felt embarrassed. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy hadn't invented the dress's name. But suppose Peggy and all the others started in on her next. Now see why she is embarrassed. A very, very important line has been written by the writer here. I am reading once again, then I will tell you. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda. The writer is saying that she used to feel embarrassed not because she was sorry for Wanda. She was not sorry for Wanda exactly, but there is some other reason. She would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy hadn't invented the dresses game. But suppose Peggy and all the others started in on her next. Maybe some of you have understood what this line is trying to tell us. The writer is saying that Maddie did not feel sorry for Wanda, but she was embarrassed because she was also a poor girl. She also wore the dresses which actually belonged to somebody else. Some other girl had worn it earlier, and those dresses were passed on to Maddie. And she thought that suppose next is her turn to face those embarrassing questions. Peggy and other girls target her next and they start asking such questions to her. Then what will happen? If Peggy and other girls start asking that the dresses which you are wearing are your own dresses or you have borrowed from somebody, then what answer she is going to give? So the thought that maybe she is the next target of Peggy and other girls in the school, this thought made her embarrassed. This thought troubled her. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy hadn't invented the dresses game. But suppose Peggy and all the others started in on her next. She wasn't as poor as Wanda, perhaps, but she was poor. So the writer says that Wanda was poorer as compared to Maddie. She was not that poor as Wanda was, but she was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. Who had more sense? Maddie. Maddie had more sense as compared to Wanda, and she would never say that she had 100 dresses. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. That means Maddie did not like that Peggy and other girls began making fun of Vanda. She wished Peggy would stop teasing Vanda Pentrosky. She did not like Peggy and other girls making fun of Vanda every day, and she wanted them to stop. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Vanda. She was absent. Vanda was absent. If you remember, we have read in the starting that Vanda was absent that day. That was Wednesday. And Maddie is glad because she is thinking that the girls will not be able to make fun of Vanda that day. I am reading again. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Vanda. She worked her arithmetic problems absent-mindedly. 8 times 8. Let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note because she knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy to say, "Hey Peg, let's stop asking Vanda how many dresses she has." Now, Maddie wants to talk to Peggy, or she wants to write to Peggy requesting Peggy that now she must stop asking Vanda about how many dresses she had. But she could not muster courage. She could not gather so much of courage to write a note to Peggy and tell her that she is requesting her not to trouble Vanda anymore. When she finished her arithmetic, she did start a note to Peggy. Suddenly, she paused and shuddered. She paused and shuddered. Shuddered means she shook slightly because an unpleasant thought came in her mind. Let us see what. She pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girls. Why she shook? Why she shuddered? Because an unusual thought came in her mind. She thought that maybe now she pictured herself. She imagined that now after Vanda, it is her turn to be the target of Peggy and other girls in the schoolyard. She pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target for Peggy and the girls. Peggy might ask her where she got the dress that she had on, and Maddie would have to say it was one of Peggy's old ones that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise with new trimmings so no